Hello. How you doing? Hope everyone is having a lovely May the 4th. Can you believe it's already May the 4th? It's just 1 year ago that it was also May the 4th. Hold on a second. I got something here. All right, I got to bring this up here. All right, let me try this. Hold on a second. I'm trying to get the Palpatine quotes. Okay, like there aren't that many. Happy Star Wars Day to you. Execute Order 66, but I do have the hell. Pretty cool, huh? All right, let's just get along. The regular show. I don't really have any plan except for wearing my Star Wars stuff. This is also my Halloween costume, so I get to wear this twice a year. Of course, a lot of people don't know, but I don't care. Especially kids are like, "Who the hell?" They're like, "Oh, you're Darth Vader." You know, I'm like, yeah, I'm Darth Vader. Whatever. Yeah, you got the right show, not the right character. But they did both have the red the red lightsaber, though. So that's not indicative. I'm having a great old time. All right, hey, welcome to the stream. I'm still pouring my Diet Coke. I hope you're doing well, Science. I don't know if you're watching any. You said you were watching the prequels. I assume you're done with those. And they're all good. I might actually take. I'm going to work in this afternoon from home, so I might actually be putting some of the movies on over my big screen after my little streaming today. Ooh, what's that? You might ask, but you probably know that it's going to be the Diet Coke poured into a glass filled with ice, letting that condensation drip down the side. I don't know what that's for, though. I declare this the official beverage of the Empire. Republic? Sorry. He always referred to it as the Republic. He never refers to it as the Empire. Although eventually he's the Emperor. But most of the time when he's talking, it's a Palpatine. He's always, it's the Republic. This is the official beverage of the Republic. We should be. Oh, you finished? You're on Andor. Andor is okay. I think I've mentioned this on stream before. The problem I have with Andor is that it's a heist movie, and it's like high end art heist or something like that. But then there's these art thieves or something. But what they're really trying to heist is the payroll of the garrison. And it's the whole season is kind of setting up for this heist, and it turns out the payroll is like these big metal plates or something like that. I shouldn't give away too much. I just felt that. The other thing I noticed, especially when I was watching Andor, and this is true of all those Star Wars movies, is they have extremely advanced technology in some ways. Like they have ships that can travel between stars and things like that, but they don't have cell phones. They don't have cool stuff like my iPhone, because that could solve a lot of problems. You know what I mean? They kind of in Andor, you'll see that they have these kind of clunky iPad things. It's almost like they're working on the iPhones, but they haven't gotten them yet. Yeah, I said that. Yeah, that's why I was telling other people. It's like they have advanced technology, but they do not have direct deposit for the employees. The employees got to take home these heavy plates every week, and then take them to the bank where presumably they get deposit. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Couldn't they come up with some more plausible reason for somebody to have to steal something? But I get it. And that gives it kind of a classic plot line, which is fine. Yeah, I mean, I wish they'd taken it more hilarious and more lightly. All right, by the way, look at this. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, if you're here before, but iShowSpeed, one of my favorite IRL streamers. I'm going to say he doesn't stream much, but when he does these really wild IRL streams because he's so famous and he's been going around the Caribbean. He also did Africa, and I followed him around there. But he goes around and I've been shadowing him all the islands because he's streaming while I'm flying around, and I can usually tell where he is because he's got a drone camera, and you can kind of tell. We're gonna check it out. He's in Puerto Rico today. So that's easy enough. Now we're gonna have to find a nice agile plane. The Draco X is kind of a handful, but we do different planes every time. It's got to be something that I can have a good time flying around on this island of Puerto Rico. And again, these aren't completely random, but I'm not fully choosing them. I'm kind of letting, I had no idea. He doesn't advertise in advance where he's going to go. But IShowSpeed is super famous. I mean, not necessarily if you're, as I mentioned, if you're over 30, you may or may not, unless you follow the most famous streamers in the world, you probably won't know who it is. Oh, you know what? The Bugatti. Ooh, that's too exotic. Maybe the Fuga Magister. Oh, you know what's even more agile? Let's go with the Fuga Magister. Let's see how it's running today. Again, this is the first week, that full week that we've had this new simulation. It's still got a few bugs, I think, to work out, but it's got a whole bunch of liveries, right? I don't know if they're going to show off. Let's do tiger meat. It's wild. I think it'll show up correctly. I just think this little preview is kind of loading slowly. All right, so now we know what plane we're going to fly in, and we have a destination, which is right here, the island of Puerto Rico. Now, usually he is flying right into the main city. This is San Juan on the northeast coast, which we will assume that he's in. He's not in the main city. He's probably off somewhere, kind of on a coastline, but probably within an hour or two drive of the city. You could kind of see that. The main airport is right. It's pretty close, right? Is this the main airport? No, that's a little airport. Where is it? Okay, it's over here. Oh yeah, it's right there. It's a pretty big international airport. All right, so are we going to cold start today? Oh gosh, yes. Not that hard to cold start if I remember correctly. And besides me as Darth Sidious, I could just use my force powers to automatically start things up if I get too confused by using my control-y force powers on engines. The dark, as we know, the dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. Don't mess with me. I shall cut you in twain with my red lightsaber. That's another line he said many times, I believe. All right, where's my controller? Here it is. All right, there's our beautiful. Yeah, it looks good. It's got a tiger. It's kind of purple. Nobody in the right mind would paint an airplane like that, which is why I like it. You know what I mean? In the real world, you would. Yeah. But who knows? Maybe you're not in your right mind. It's an older design. Let's get rid of the EFB. Okay, most of the on controls, like turn on, is down here, right? So let's see. It's down here. Yeah. Battery. Alternator. We'll just turn that on for now. I'm going to turn these on. All right, where's my fuel? Okay, it's down there. That looks good. That all looks good. Okay, a little bit of gas, a little bit of throttle, but not too much. What's this here? Backup spoilers. That's landing. Just remember where everything is. Right, they bank and turn as if there's atmosphere, and there's the reason for that is the original Star Wars Episode 4. The original Star Wars. In order to get the feeling of a dogfight that he wanted, George Lucas took a bunch of old World War II air fighting sequences and jammed them together, gave them to the special effects people, and said, just make the spaceships do that. I think we're almost. Wait, no. Where's the starter? Okay, starter is. I always forget where it is. It's down. That's the starter. Great. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the starter to the left engine. Yeah, of course. I mean, he says it's a space fantasy. All right. So we can start to hear the left engine is starting to get some speed. I'm looking for my the thing that indicates the. Okay. So the RPM indicator. There's two engines, but they're both that upper left thing there. Okay, when it gets to about, I don't know, it has to, so one says G and the other says D, one says, I think R, no, I don't remember. Anyway, one's the right engine, one's the left engine. That's the left engine. All right, that's coming up. Then we go down here, right? and do the fuel thing, and then turn on the ignition. So now fuel and ignition is going to the left engine. So now we're going to see the RPM come up. All right, we got 2 engines to start up. That left engine is starting up now. As soon as it stabilizes, we'll do the same thing for the right engine. And you see the temperatures on the left engine are coming up. Just temperature. Right engine's still off. That's all good. What's this down here? Gear, bulbs, blah, blah, blah. Anything here, that's oxygen system. It's pretty simple. Okay, we're going to back down to the starter. And now we're going to ask it to turn. Right, so there's gauche and droit. It's a French system. So we're turning on the droit engine. By the way, what are these? Oh, yeah, fuel tip tanks. That's your circuit breakers. Some of these have to be turned on, right? Oh, I think there's a calm thing we have to turn on around here somewhere, right? Maybe it's on. All right, okay, and then once it gets up to speed, we got to do the same thing over here. We turn the fuel valve on and the ignition, and that starts getting temperature going in the right engine. It's getting kind of loud. I might adjust that volume. Pretty loud. I gotta tell it too loud. I mean, I can do that real quick. Oh yeah, let's adjust this down to that there. Yeah, I feel better. All right, still kind of loud, but you know. All right, I think I have my. Okay, yeah, okay. The radio is on. Both engines are warmed up. We're ready to go. We got the cockpit open. We're gonna close both of these cockpits, and the way you do that is there's kind of this little gear here, and you go there, and that closes the front. And then you lock it closed here. Lock, please. There you go. Lock it. And then we got to go into the back seat. Do the same thing. It's got the tandem configuration. Also run through the locker. It will get quieter now that we got the lock. There we go. Nice and locked. Now we go back to the front seat. There we go. Front seat. Tune ground. We're going to take off and fly around Puerto Rico. Request depart straight out.
San Juan ground. KNSH 9er, 9er, 9er with
so far the simulations are performing pretty well.
departing straight out.
Catch 9er, 9er, 9er. Taxi to and hold short of runway 10 via taxiway Hotel Hotel 1. Contact tower on 135.875 when ready.
Where's my... Oh, there we go. I just wondering, my park breaker's off or off? It's off. But anyway, the history of, yeah, I mean, the kind of the way, you know, the way the whole, all of Star Wars works in terms of the physics of it is kind of set from the first thing, in the first movie, you know, episode 4. And you just can't change that stuff. And it, plus, real, if they were trying to be realistic with space combat, it would be both dizzying and kind of hard to follow.
Catch 9er, 9er, 9er. Acknowledge last transmission.
Sorry. Must have forgot to acknowledge something. I love this plane though. It's got a very unusual configuration with that V-tail and a lot of weight in the front. It is a real plane. It's a Fuga Magister. A few of them are still flying, but and it's a French plane in France, like for air shows and stuff. But they're pretty dangerous because they're old. They're not going to last forever, and you know, the airframe is tired at this point. But it's great to fly one in the real world. They're quite agile. I like it. And of course, being a jet, if you want to cover some grounds, it's good. It's the way to go. All right, we're gonna. It's a long runway that's designed for 747s easily to accommodate. I think it's almost 10,000 feet. I think we could probably launch a Concorde from here, which I still want to do. We're still going to try doing that. It did not successfully run in the last version of the simulation, but we have had the sim update since then. Everything that has transpired has done so according to my prediction. Alright, let's go here actually. Alright, come right up here, brake on, and slower. Parking brake on, tune the tow. Can you let us go? There we go. Okay, but for trim, we got to make sure you set some positive trim because otherwise it's going to be very nose heavy. But this way it will lightly take off the ground.
Catch 9er, 9er, 9er. Hold short
I think
runway 10. Traffic is Boeing
A 737 on final. Where is it though? Is it a mile out? Is it a million miles out? It might be a million miles out because I don't see it. And I have nameplates on. Yeah, I don't even see a plane. Of course, I should have nameplates on. All right. Say again. I'm Darth Sidious. Okay, what are you gonna do? I'm the Emperor. What are you gonna do? You know, I'll have my henchmen, my henchmen come over and you know, I'll squeeze your throats with my force powers. I would not mess with me. Look at this plane here. I don't have time to wait for some invisible 737 to land. All right, let's there we go. All right, it's all going good. All right, full power to the warp nacelles.
Did you copy?
Yeah, say again.
Tower, key NSH 9
Yeah, say that again, would you? Tower. See, I've learned this from Star Wars. It's just it's all a delaying. All right, let's fly around. We're already gone. Don't worry, we're not your problem anymore. All right, well.
Hold short runway 10.
That happens at busy airports. I just don't have time to wait for the but the thing is, normally you can see an airplane.
You were not cleared to take off.
Yeah, but I am the Emperor. Literally. I'm literally the Emperor.
ATC services
Well, at least you said good day, which is good, because I was thinking of force choking your whole family.
Southwest tree 201. Exit runway when able.
All right, so this is the airport, San Juan, Puerto Rico. Okay, very good. It's pretty big. It's got multiple large runways. Oh, there's that 737. Wait a minute, it's taking off. That's cool up here. It looks like they have resorts right next to the airport, or like beach or something like there. And here's R2. You want to go to the airport and you want to be at your hotel in 10 seconds, these are the ones you want to stay at. Some people like that. I prefer to be a little further away from the airport. Okay, so we got a lagoon. Right, we don't need to say more. Unless we ignored them. It's not like we're following their instrucciones. It's funny, there's a floating bridge across it. Okay, so this is downtown Puerto Rico. Well, there's two parts. There's the waterfront area and kind of the interior area. Okay. And there's this main road. Puerto Rico, I believe, has like 1 million inhabitants. It's, of all the Caribbean nations, it's one of the biggest in population. If I remember correctly. I don't remember correctly, but I think it is. It's up there. And, of course, it is a U.S. territory. So not exactly state, but not independent either.
Turn next taxiway.
Lots of boats there. I'm trying to see. Yeah, once again, we're having this issue where cruise ships previously looked like three-dimensional objects in the game. And since the new sim update, it looks like cruise ships have been borked, unless I have a setting. Let me just check this. I want to make sure that there's some setting that I don't have turned on. It would be global rendering quality, because they moved that. I want to see, I make sure I have, like, ships or something. Is there ships around here? Like sea traffic. Yeah, no, I have everything set to pretty high, so. Yeah, no, that's. It's not me, it's the game. But it's not a big deal. It's just that anywhere where there's ports like this, I expect to see, you know, the cruise ships, which are very detailed models. Wait a minute, there's one over there. There is one over there. Okay. So, I'll show you what I mean. You'll see there are both things here. There's a detailed three-dimensional model of a cruise ship, and also pictures of a cruise ship in the port. Oh no, is that a cargo ship? Oh, that's a cruise ship. And it's not in the right, kind of in the right place, right? And so it's a three-dimensional model, but then there's these other areas here where there should be cruise terminals, where those are just flat. There's no, you know, there's no three-dimensional model there. But obviously they can handle a lot of cruise ships. I like how agile this plane is. It doesn't necessarily have great visibility because of the way the cockpit is designed on the inside. All right, so we saw the waterfront part. It's not a lot. And again, you know, some of these ships are definitely three-dimensional, and you can tell the difference. You know, from a distance, you can't even see those cruise ships that are flat. I'm not complaining. I'm just comparing it to my expectation level. But it's interesting. At least some of them are three-dimensional. I just don't know how the computer makes that decision. This has got to be kind of like the main downtown area here, like right here. It seems like where all the streets are meeting. There's one big street there, and there's this big interchange here, and then there's what looks like maybe an entertainment or a shopping complex right there. I'm thinking. There's certainly with lots of different stores, malls, probably a high-end shopping right there. And there's probably hotels here if you don't want to stay right next to the water. And then there's this park area here. All right, give me a second, because I actually have Puerto Rico up here on my Google Maps. I just kind of want to see. There's that. What is this whole area? Okay, there's like a museum. Yeah, there's just a bunch of. Okay, in this area here. There's a water spout. Let's see. Oh, okay, this is Army National Guard. I think some of this area below us here is military from Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico Army National Guard. I believe at least one of these buildings. That's what it looks like. Yeah, and there's that tank farm up there. And there's a main exchange. This area there, right there, that I'm kind of looking at, that is definitely kind of a shopping and entertainment zone, that kind of area right there. Yeah, okay. But it's good to be able to compare where I am on the map. And then there's the canal over here. Okay, it's on the map too. I guess it's a river. Two rivers. Interesting. And I don't know if I don't know what they call this, like a bay. We'll find out. It's another de Boca Vieja. They're pretty nice mountain. There's Bahia de San Juan over there. It's a very pretty crescent-shaped beach with a river flowing into it. Okay. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with Puerto Rico. Never been there. But, and again, I don't know specifically where Aisho Speed is currently. It looks like he's back in an urban area, so I'm suspecting back in the main town. I don't think he goes too far from wherever the airport is, because he flies a private jet with his entourage. So it's not like he has to, he's not like, you know, he can go and come and go when he pleases. But he's packing these islands in. At least as far as his title says, he's not leaving Puerto Rico today. But you can't see Puerto Rico in one day. This is a pretty major island. Now, as soon as we had, you can see this, the city behind us is receding. And that is the main island. I mean, on this whole island. Oh, we're going kind of fast. I gotta put my engines on full. We're gonna blast on our engines out here. How we doing? Okay, now we're doing better. Alright, we're in cruise speed. There we go. It's all a little too fast. But you can see, let's see, we've got communities, beaches, I don't know, timeshares. It's like people living here. I don't know if that's going to be sort of the middle class. I don't know. We've got a lovely golf course. Houses on the golf course. Who wouldn't want to live with a backyard right on a golf course? I don't know. I never have. Maybe if you're a golfer. It's always pretty, that layout with the golf course with the houses on it. All right, let's just fly around here a little bit. Again, even with this fast plane, we can't really circle the entire island. Unlike the previous places we've been to, we can go all the way around the island in one show. But I just don't think, okay, another golf course, another fancy area, and those are all like hotels and you know, multi-units, all these areas, all sorts of golf courses. I think there's golf courses there. So I guess people come to Puerto Rico for the beautiful water and the golfing. I'm not a golfer. I don't think I am. I like the water. Some of these beaches look very, very inviting. That little one there does. You know? But, no. But, you know. And also, you see a thing on an island where there's limited land. It's, you know, maybe limited water supply. It looks like Puerto Rico, you can see it has mountains, so it definitely has water. It's not like the smaller islands that are dry. But at least I can say so far from Sim Update 5 being installed, I have had no technical glitches to speak of. I don't want to say that. I'm kind of crossing my fingers, but that's the fact. It was some less Friday, so it's just, this is the fourth stream. Sim Update 4 was pretty good the first time they released it, but somehow it kind of got less reliable the more I played with it. So we'll have to see if that happens in Sim Update 5 as well. I don't know how that could work, but you never know. All right, and we're still heading west. There's lots more of these communities, which are probably just little tourist traps, or I don't know, people living. And again, it has a large population. Unincorporated U.S. territories. Does it say what the population is? What facts? It's not. Give me the quickest of the facts I have. That's fine. So, but we're gonna have Darth Sidious' piano lounge later. We'll have to see how that goes. I don't know if everybody's gonna care, but I all right, let's make a left turn and go inland a bit here. So you see the coast again. It's kind of straight. The coast. It's very kind of like a rectangular shaped island. So there's 4 coasts. There's one that heads way to the west, and then there's one that kind of goes to the south. But it's big, and these mountains are kind of just in the middle belt of it. So you can see how big it is just across it. We should go over the mountains just so we see some different kinds of terrain. It's not that far in this plane. But yeah, it looks like, you know, as usual, you think, well, why aren't all the communities built right next to the water? And the answer is mosquitoes. And weather. It can get kind of hot and humid right next to a water source. So as you get further inland, you get a little altitude, the air gets a lot drier. And of course, you'll get used to the humidity. But if you travel here, and you're not like Hawaii or any of these islands, and you're not used to the humidity, it hits you. It hits pretty hard. You just don't want to be out in it. What is this over here? Is this like a quarry or something? But you'll see. I mean, there's lots of stuff here. There's lots of roads. It looks pretty built up. But if we head towards these mountains here, it goes dead south. It won't take that long to get to the other side, but there's not much in there. Yeah, I think this is a quarry or a surface mine or something. Maybe marble or something like that. Some kind of rock. Definitely a mine, surface mine. And then another community. But we're going to head dead south. And as we get away from the water, you see where the water is. Once you get a few miles inland, it starts to become quite unpopulated. One gets about 80. Yeah, well, that's just that. How much fuel we have. The other thing I forget about this plane is it seems to gulp the fuel. It's not a fuel-efficient plane. Now, of course, I can always get more fuel in air. I can refuel air effectively, magically, but I don't want to. What's this one again? Okay, that's the park, right? Site. Okay, got that thing. Land year. Back of spoilers. Radio stuff. Stuff over there. Toronto. Let's check these. Those are lighting systems. Well, there's your iPad down there. So actually, while this plane would not have had an autopilot, you can get an autopilot function that wouldn't have been in the real plane using this, using this electronic EFB, this electronic flight bag is technically what it is. If we look at it closely, you can see that it has an AP option. And if you click that, you can effectively turn on an autopilot, and just like Trieste, but I'm not going to do that. We're going to hand fly it. And yeah, this plane would have been a little too old. The design would have been old to have incorporated an autopilot in it, but we would not have had it. So, but we're going to check it out. Okay, see, if we look at the map here, the flight plan map here, you can see kind of how this altitude is going to go here. But you see what I mean by kind of it's a spine. It's the spine of Puerto Rico. Most of the activity on it is either in this where you see on the kind of the northeastern part of it. That's where the main city is, and then the west side. That's where I think Montego. No, I remember what it is. But down on the south where we're going is pretty empty. But I think what we'll do is we'll head over to this side here. That won't take too long. But meanwhile, you can see, there's a plane down here. Again, I don't know why I am not getting tags. In other words, I'm expecting to see tags. In fact, let me check that right now. That's what I should look at. There should be, that's under assistances, right? Do I see other airplanes tags? Where is that? It's not accessibility. It must be general. Oh, online? So let's see. Air traffic, live weather, communications. It's not flight model. It's not flight interface. Well, maybe it is. Oh yeah, just here it is. It got turned off. It should. I should have had show air traffic nameplates on, and also display label for all screens. I guess the new update I think turned those off. Okay, good to know. And now I should have a plate. I don't know. It might have to take a while to show up, but that little plane should have had a little label on it, or that big plane. And you should be able to see those from quite a distance. I was noticing those are off, but I think I just figured out why. Again, there's a sim update, and apparently they redid some control. They overrid some default controls for you. So I gotta figure out what those are. But anyway, yeah, they're not too high. They're like 3,000 feet up. But even up here, it looks like there's some lot of places. Again, these are the people who want the cooler living, the altitude, and the less humidity, and maybe have a beautiful view. But they're a ways from anywhere, and they're certainly not going to be enjoying the ocean and jumping in the beach all the time. But yep, there are people living all through here in this area. It looks like not through that whole mountainous area, but this part here certainly. And it's like there's some probably wilderness resorts or nature resorts. Maybe some golf courses. It's not really flat enough to have a golf course. But yeah, no, all these terraced houses. All these terraces. Wow. I mean, this is like a major like a place where a lot of people are living, as opposed to the city, which is quite a ways away. But again, we're just gonna go straight south, and I think once we get to the south coast, there'll be basically nothing. These people could still drive north effectively to get to the city in maybe an hour, I guess. But yeah, it's, Puerto Rico, pretty big island. Pretty big one. It's not the biggest, but it gets up there. Again, I'm not going to use the autopilot, so we're just going to put that away. It's a great old system. Oh, now we're getting speed. This plane, the jet engines operate more efficiently actually at higher altitude. So if you did want to, because we're going to be out of fuel by the time we land, which is fine. But if you do want to get somewhere at a decent, without using so much fuel, you'd get up to about 20,000 feet and you'd be able to cruise at a much more, without using so much fuel, I guess. It's not like we have, speed breaks down or anything. Right, we're not flying against some kind of drag. No, it's just the engines are just not, they're just older jets. They're not that efficient. Because we're running it pretty hard, but we're not really going anywhere near as fast as we could. Again, yeah, we're still not running. It looks like these hills and these mountainous areas have been completely, crisscrossed with little roads, built up with houses. Okay, here's where we're starting to get out. There's still a few houses here and there, but here's where it's definitely getting to be more the backwoods. So you see there's a road there and there's houses all along it over here. But here, so we get to the south coast of Puerto Rico, and I'm pretty sure it's, I don't know, we'll have to see. Maybe there's a city there. I thought, if I remember correctly, it's fairly unoccupied. But the rest of Puerto Rico is easy. Actually, there's houses down there, I think. On this side, maybe not. Hard to tell. This side also, you'd want to head to this area. I don't know, probably people living here. As I mentioned, I think there's like a million people in Puerto Rico. Maybe not, but it's a big population, especially compared to the other Puerto Rican islands. Yeah, there's people living all through here. Or at least there's houses. And yeah, okay, this is already a city. You see there's more, I was like, nobody lives down here. Yeah, there's plenty of people live down here. But this is pretty far. If you wanted to go to the major airport, it's probably quite, you have to go around the island or go over the mountains. And it might be just as fast either way, or slow. But I don't know, you know, there's people who live don't really need to go to the airport that much. Again, it's a pretty looking city. Kind of very, very planned layout. And I assume that there'll be a waterfront area, but I don't know. You see, that area, there's not much of anything. Oh, I see. There's not a housing area. That's actually pretty cool. Pretty amazing. How's our CM 170 handling everything? Seems to be running quite well. Again, except for the fact that it is sucking fuel up at a tremendous rate. And I've said this before, this plane uses fuel at the fastest rate of any plane I have. It's the least efficient. And I'm not exactly sure why, except I attribute it to that these engines are very inefficient. Being that they are early jet designs, there's a lot of like cookie cutter houses down here. And they're probably not really that nice. A lot of cookie cutter house activity. You got some kind of plantation orchard there, growing trees. A lot of growing of something out here. I don't know what they're growing. Yeah, okay, so here's the waterfront area. We got wind turbines to provide your electricity. Yeah, okay, so there are people living here. We're going to head over to the left here. There's going to be an airport just in time for me to want to land. The fun part, plus running out of gas. I may actually have to give myself a little bit of a fuel boost to get to this airport. Because it's a ways out. You'll see on the map here. How far is it? It's about 20 miles. We can make it. I mean, we've gone a lot farther than that. And there's still plenty of time. So this will be a beautiful little coastal view here. I'm heading straight toward it at this point. But let's see, we got 20% fuel. Again, it's easy to adjust that. All I got to do is go aircraft, flight performances. At least that's used to have you do it. Mass and balance. Fuel tab. It's kind of painful, but it's possible. And you can see, yeah, I don't have any in my left or right tip tanks. Everything's from the center tank. But I could add fuel to my center tank. Like that. And now we have plenty of fuel for the rest of the trip. That can even give us a little boost here. Power will go up to like 85% there. Alright. There's a big road here. This is like one of the major roads that kind of obviously goes around the probably around the whole island basically. This one here. Definitely a highway. So yeah, I suspect, I don't know, we'll have to see. I actually probably want to see what the coast is like. Okay, but yeah, now we got the engine boiling a little bit faster. We're going to make a little bit better time. 247 knots is roughly, what, 260 miles an hour? It's 110% to get to miles. That is 10% more. Alright, that's a pretty area there. Looks like there's some kind of boats. It's something a bay, like a maybe where they built a breakwater. Pretty area. I don't see a lot of resorts. This is probably just not a popular area to put people want to go. I would say, you know, most people are expecting to be within 20, 30 miles of San Juan, so that they can check and, you know, enjoy the more the nightlife that a larger city would offer, or opportunities for dining, etc. But yeah, I like to say we're not going to be able to see the whole island in one tour. But I think I've seen the western part of it already on a previous trip. Just like a year ago. So we have some power generation. some kind of industrial activity. And more of these just like fairly large subdivisions, houses. It's like 150 houses. Oh yeah, so we got solar as well as presumably some kind of either probably jet fuel or coal or jet fuel or something. Not sure what. And they're burning that for so multiple ways of making electricity. But that's a pretty big solar farm there. So they're usually right next to each other. These people are living close to the water. There's a tiny little school there, like an like a one-room schoolhouse right there. Kind of cool. And again, it'd be nice if I saw points of interest, but they have not fixed that issue. I still rarely see points of interest. Sometimes the points of interest will come in just at the end of this thing, but, you know, I don't care. And the point of interest are those little things on the horizon that tell you that you're approaching something interesting, like an airport. And they seem to come and go for me, but apparently it's just me, because otherwise they would have addressed it and fixed it. And other people I know who like something like that, no, I was the points of interest. I don't know, there's nothing possible that I have set differently. Yeah, dead ahead is this other airfield. We're going to land there. Not dead ahead, we got another 15 miles to go. But there's lots of stuff. There's another beachfront community here. It looks nicer because a lot of people have pools in their backyard, I think, or at least a few. Another like community school or something down there. I like the layout of this one here. It's pretty. And all these kind of have the feeling like they're not necessarily fairly recent, but you know, designed to maximize the land value, putting as many houses on a patch of land as you can, and not being concerned about having any kind of variety of design or individualism, which I agree is rare. It's something rare. I used to live in a place called Altadena, California, and because there's a little airfield here. This is not where we're supposed to be landing. It's not active in the game. Okay. And Altadena, California was, it still is. There was a big fire. A lot of houses were down. But before they did, it was known as it was unincorporated Los Angeles County. In the same way, this is unincorporated. You know, it's not. It's hard to say, but it's an unincorporated U.S. territory. But Altadena's unincorporated as a city. It was just an area that had a name. And for that reason, there was almost no copied, you know, two houses that lived right next to each other. And I grew up that way. All the houses were very unique. And they were all clearly kind of designed independently of each other and built. And it was easier to do that because it was easier to get permits if you weren't in a city. You only had to make the county happy. The reason why often these houses are identical is because they'll get a permit for one and then say, I'm building 20 of these, or 100 of these. So just duplicate that. I mean, it's much easier to build them if they're exactly the same. But in an unincorporated area, you can build a unique house and you don't have to go through as much permitting process. So all the houses are unique. So it's very unusual and I grew up that way, and when it's very unusual to see large communities where all the houses are basically identical. But the one I'm living in has, there's 250 houses. I think there's only 5 variations of floor plans. And then there's mirrored versions of those, so a total of 10. And 2 kinds of roofs for a little bit of variety. If there's only one, 2 kinds of they're tiled roofs, but there's 2 tile styles. You have the flat tile or the curved tile. So it makes a little variety, but I don't know. I've gone on about. So I should tell the story about how I became the original Star Wars fan. What do you mean the original Star Wars fan? That's a pile of crap. Okay, not the original Star Wars fan, but from your point of view, the original, one of the first, like say, 300 Star Wars fans in the world. And I don't know how many of them are still living because we're pretty old by now. And I was a kid. I was 16 years old, and I told the story before. I lived in L.A., in Pasadena, Altadena, anyway. And I had a car because I was 16, and I got this baby blue Datsun 510 station wagon with an automatic transmission. And I got permission from my parents to ditch school on a Friday and go out to this convention near the airport, drive out to this convention. Um, it was kind of the progenitor convention of Gen Con, but we didn't call it, or sorry, Comic Con. We called it Gen Con. That's what it was called. Gen Con was the general role-playing, fantasy, and miniature figures and wargaming convention. I don't know what was general, but it was that's what it was for. But it was kind of the predecessor of Comic Con. Comic Con, was not around then, and it definitely had a lot of comic book stuff, which I wasn't interested in. I was interested in the war games and the science fiction stuff. So I was at this convention, and they had a presentation. This was 1976, late '76. They had a presentation. I think it was November. Upcoming movies, which they do at Comic Con, and they're trying to get excitement and buzz for movies that have not been released yet. So they're going to show a trailer for it. First time anyone's ever seen this trailer for this movie. It ended up being Star Wars, so they showed a whole bunch of stuff. They went through the plot. They had the producer there. No, George Lucas was not there. Rick McCallum was there, who's a producer, and they talked about the whole plot. They showed like a 3-minute trailer. They showed the lightsabers before the final thing, and I was like, wow, that's actually looking like that's gonna be a dang old good movie. So I told my parents when it comes out, which it did I think in April of the next year, '77. I'm really excited about this movie. Let's go see the first show. And there was like 400 people in the audience of watching this, all this stuff there. Watching the first time ever to the public anyone knew about Star Wars. It was as a movie. They didn't expect it was going to be a national phenomenon like it was. They thought they were trying to make it a popular movie. That was their game, it appealed to the nerds, and it was successful. Because my parents agreed to take me out to Westwood to the National Theater to see Star Wars on the opening day, not the first showing. But we were standing in line. I said to them, look, I'm making a prediction about this. We hadn't seen the movie yet. And I said, not only is this going to be, I think after we saw the movie the first time, after we saw it, I said, they were like, yeah, it's okay. And I was like, not only is this going to be considered one of the greatest movies of all time, this is going to cause a national phenomenon. I was 17 years old at the time. And I could tell that Star Wars was going to transcend a movie right away. People were real excited about the movie right away, but there was more to it. It was such a mature and deep universe. And you could tell they were going to make a lot of money and make more movies, but more than that, there was going to be tie-ins. I could not have predicted as a 17-year-old that as at my current age, which is a lot older than that, they're still making Star Wars properties. They're still making movies, Star Wars movies that go into the theaters. Mandalorian and Grogu is going to be in the theaters first. But yeah, so that makes me a Star Wars fan since 1976. It is now 2026. And it's 50 years. 50 years of being a Star Wars fan. And as I said, in that time, I've basically always been a Star Wars fan. I mean, I've never stopped, being a fanboy. In fact, I used to say, oh, wait, I see our runway up ahead. We're going to land soon. Sorry, reducing power. Like I said, and this is referring to the shows, the Star Wars shows like Andor and The Mandalorian and Boba Fett, Ahsoka, blah blah, etc. Obi-Wan. And I've said this many times before. There you go. Oh, look at that! Look at that! Points of interest showed up right as I was about to end my show. Wow! Look at that! They just popped in like nobody's business. And what I said is Star Wars shows are like pizza. Even when they're bad, they're still pretty good. All right, you gotta watch a minute of speed here. Okay, full flaps, landing flaps, gear down. See, so we'll be able to see things. But anyway, there's this. I think this might be a military airport. I don't know, but when I'm here, there may not be. It looks like there's. I don't know. Let's see if I can read what it says. Roosevelt Roads. It could be a military airport. It starts out. But we're gonna land there. We'll check it out. So yeah, I've seen the movies. I've seen the original, the original 6 movies, not the last 3, like at least 10 times each, at least since then. And I've seen all of those Star Wars shows. I think I've seen most of them at least twice through, because I do like them. Okay, how are we doing power-wise? Coming a little high, but it's a nice long runway. That's what it looks like from here. Just powering a little bit more. Got a little bit of side wind here to deal with. Crap down there. Give some left rudder. Perfectly good landing. Nice and soft. Keep the flaps up. We're gonna go out here. Wonder where it's gonna take us. I don't see any buildings. It must be out here somewhere. I do not recall landing here before, but I don't know. It doesn't look completely out of sorts. Maybe it's down this way? Yeah, I think it's down kind of either way we go, but I think this is a little shorter. I think it's give us the way out. But there you go. We flew around a bit. There's going to be the big brain games. And this time we're going to use Darth Sidious' brain, which hopefully is pretty good. I'm gonna do some music. I'm gonna play. Darth is gonna play some music for a while for you. Darth Sidious, Emperor Palpatine, whatever you prefer. Same guy. Pretty plain. I do usually fly this livery. Now that I look at it, I'm like, yeah, well, it's wild. I think up ahead and to the left are some buildings, but I don't know for sure. This is a warehouse over there. It could be a military airport, so it may not be much to see. But I don't really know. Something Roosevelt. I feel like we're going really slow, which we are compared to how fast we were going a few seconds ago in the air. But that's how fast this plane's going around. But yeah, as we landed, we only have 16% fuel. We're basically on reserve fuel. So, and that was not really a long flight. Plus, I gave us we had an in-flight air fueling of another 20 gallons, and that's that's totally normal. That's something I would completely expect. I mean, for this particular plane, not for other planes. You don't necessarily see any military planes here, but it's either general aviation or military. I'm not really sure which. But here we are. Wherever it is, here we are. At least, yeah, here's where the buildings are. Here's where the parking is. I'm not sure whether this is actually used by... this is not the international airport, obviously, but this is where it took off from. But, it's kind of cool. Just checking it out a bit. Buildings down there. All right, we're gonna park over here. All right, parking brake on. I always like to open the canopy. Okay, so you do that. You open up the lock, and then you got to look behind you, and there's that lever thing down there. You got to click that bad boy, and then we got to do the same thing in the rear. We unlock the canopy, and then we click this strut. Okay, so now from the front, how do you shut the engines off? Okay, well, from here, there's these two things on the left: the fuel cutoff and the fuel cutoff. Oops, and the other fuel cutoff. That will shut off the engines. And then the rest of the stuff is basically just a couple switches. Off. Off. Alternator off. All right. Okay, engine off. Let it cool down a bit. Beautiful. And I do want to appreciate that I'm able to open the canopy and enjoy the plane from the inside with the canopy open. You can kind of see how those struts are holding me up there, which is kind of cool. It's a real plane too. It's a real beast. I think it was primarily designed for training French pilots, French military pilots, or others, but primarily military, I think. But other than that, even though it does have some weapon systems, I don't think it would have been used in wartime. One thing I really doesn't have the range for it. All right, that was fun though. All right, the next thing I'm going to go do is slip myself into the just chatting category. I'm not actually typing anything. I'm using the force to change everything here. It's pretty cool. You can't tell, but I normally just type things in, but today I'm just using the force for everything. Go to desktop. There we go. We're in the desktop. Very nice. All right, let me bring up the first big brain game of the day. That is, of course, the Quirtle. And what is the Quirtle, you may say? Well, I don't care if you don't know what it is. It's the first of the big brain games. Okay, so let's see. It's like the Wordle, which I already did today. Got it in 5. But the object, is to get all 4 of these 5-letter words using the same set of clues. All right, we got one here. We got Pinto over on the bottom left. If you look at it carefully, you see that's the only thing it can be. It can't be point. And then that's an easy one. Then we have probably ITTY, but that could be ditty or witty. Probably just those two. So that's a little tricky here. But let's see. Upper left. I've seen this pattern before, and that's going to be imbue. I just played this game a lot for years. As an emperor, I don't have a lot of stuff to do. All right, this could be steep. It might not be steep, but it could be steep. Okay, so that was an easy warm-up game. Oh no, we have one more to go. Right, still could be ditty or witty. Let's try witty. We have two guesses. We have 3 actually. That I'm at least. Oh, it wasn't. Oh. I keep forgetting this could be 50. And it is 50. Well, at least I remembered it in time to win the game. Weekly challenge unlocked. Who cares? We're moving on to a different game. You're not going to play it now. I will play it later. I do all of these, games every day. There's like 5 variations. That's not on stream. All right, moving on to the revealed. If you're here and you want to help out, you should know that the answer we're looking for is a place. It has 7 letters followed by 7 letters, so it's 2 7-letter words to indicate this place. Okay, so blank arm of the blank, separating the southern blank of blank from the northern blank of blank, and tapering blank to its blank, with the blank at the blank. With an area of some blank square miles, blank is one of those covering the blank shelf of blank. I'm going to take one guess that I know has the correct number of letters. Bermuda Triangle has the wrong number of letters. Oh, it's not the Bermuda Triangle. All right, let me see what it goes. Covering a blank shelf of blank. What is this one here? Atlantic Ocean. Separating the southern blank. So is it a sea? Because ocean doesn't have 7 letters. Well, it can't be ocean because it can't be an ocean. Let me see. What is this? England. Oh, it could be the English Channel, right? That makes sense because that has the right number of letters. Yeah, I think I could have got that before. Oh, we only needed 2. Two reveals. Two's not bad. Two. Other players needed 4.5 and 1.7. And there's the old good old English channel. 60%, 63% eventually solved it. By the way, that's kind of a low number. So it means it was kind of hard. I didn't think it was that hard, but 2 reveals. Okay, that's fine. Blah, 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 blah. It's a shallow sea covered the continent. Okay, eventually we got it. England, Atlantic Ocean. And something that separates something from something else. You know what I mean? It's kind of enough clues right there. All right. Now it's time for the tightrope trivia quiz. It's a multiple choice 9-question trivia quiz, timed. But this should be the easier one. Let's dive in here and see how I do. Junos. Gravel which country? I would have to go with Canada because she's Canadian, but I did not know that for sure. I'm going to say the Alamo. Because I know it was in San Antonio. But, Master of Cartography is good. Map making. That's an easy one. Well, these are the Monday questions. The Mars family horse. Kit Kat with Snickers. I was going to say Snickers, but I think Kit Kat could be a perfectly good horse name too. To help difference at the sea. The sea lion is different. It has the ear flaps, and the seals don't. I kind of knew that. That was hard, I think. Rope makers, settlers from Netherlands. Rope makers. Double Dutch. I don't even know what that is. Windows is epidural would be the only thing that would be for pain of those treatments. Bourbon production, Kentucky. In fact, technically, bourbon legally has to come from Kentucky, I believe. The other 10% is fake bourbon. Star-Lord in the Marvel movies. Interesting. Well, we crossed it. I crossed it. Did I do well? Not particularly. Am I happy? I'm pretty happy in general. As Darth Sidious, I mean the Emperor. I can pretty much order people to do whatever I want. 1790, that's a loss. All right, let's move on to the next game. It's the reunion. I like this game, but I like all these, or I wouldn't do them every day. And I even do them on the days I don't stream. All right, it's kind of like a crossword puzzle, except, okay, let's get on with it here. We got some interesting clues here, like the G is on the row, the N is on the row, this E is on the column, and so is the S. I don't think it's there. This M I'm not sure about. I'm not sure about the C. I'm looking at the letters that are available. I think the G has to go here, but I could be wrong. Okay, good, I was right. And that C, because it went from yellow to white, now I know the C is somewhere here. And I think it's going to be SCAL something something G. Right? I mean, it's got to. I'm not sure what that word's going to be. It could be scale, and this could be something else. And then where the O and the TR could be where the Fox and the Hedgehog are going to end up. See what I'm saying? Oh, it can't be scale because the E would be green. But let's see. What could it be? So, it can't be scale. It could be scaling, ING, right? So, because we know this I probably could be here. And the N, even though this N, there's another N available. This one here. I want to move that one. All right, so we got one word. The object, we're 4 moves in. The object is to solve this puzzle in 17 moves or less. But I don't want to mess up. So far, so good. There's a word that starts with GR. The S can't be there. But I think this N has to be here. Okay. I don't know what this word's going to be, but the N had to be there because it couldn't have been in these other places. It couldn't be between an F and an R. And then there's no like GREC something. So this C has to go somewhere, and it can't go there. Not sure about the C. This is interesting though. I like this game. This E has to go somewhere. I kind of think the E has to go here at the end because there's GRE something. Okay, get a good guess. So far, my intuition has gone good as well because I am the emperor. I have excellent intuition, and okay. The C is definitely not here. GRE. What could this be? Could it be greet? GREET. Yeah, and then the word on the right could be comfort, and then it ends in T. All right, I'm pretty sure it is. It's going to turn green. This is going to go green. This M has to go there. We have another O. Okay, and then this is going to be greet. Has to be on the greet, I think. Right? Yes. Okay, good. 11 moves in, and we're cleaning up this game quite quickly. We're also going to do the New York Times connections. All right, let's see. What is here? This word... Either this word or this word is going to be a word. And we have to use a T, an S, an L, B, and R. So this word here could be album. I think it is. A-L, yes. A-L-B-U-M. This word here's going to be, it's just going to be butte, B-U-T-T-E. Because these are going to go in here and here. And then, right? Okay, that's going to go there. Oh, yeah, and the R is going to go, I just want to predict what I might need to do to get intro. Yeah, and then this word on the upper right is sick, S-I-C. Not really a word, but I guess I see what they're going for. Okay, so that's a 16. 16 is one under par. Par is 17. And it's, the best I've ever gotten is, I think, 14. So 16 is pretty good. You got to get pretty lucky. We did a lot better than the typical other player of the game because I'm pretty good at this by now. Kind of observe. You see, it's called reunion because the fox and the hedgehog always are adjacent to each other, horizontally or diagonally, at the end of the game, and they kind of break words up. So there's not all 5 and 7 letter words. There's also 3 and 5 letter words. In some cases, depending on where they end up. Pretty cool. All right, the next game is called the New York Times Connection. It's fun to find folks at the New York Times. Okay, how we play this game. All right, is we use the force to crush the writer of the New York Times' throat remotely. We can do this from far away. I just have to know who it is. I call them on my phone. I go, ready to get your force choke. Get over here. Right, Marshmallow, Labubu. Oh dear. Radio, Chowda, Beanie Baby, Stove, Pitter Patter, Etch a Sketch. Oh dear. Teddy Bear. Desiccant Packet, Doodlebug, oh my lord, Desiccant Packet, Sweetheart, Hacky Sack, Control Panel, Softy, and Eye Pillow. Wow. I gotta say about that. I mean, Beanie Baby, Teddy Bear, Labubu, and something else, but I don't know what else would probably maybe a Doodlebug or a Softie. I think is like a stuffed toy. I kind of want to guess that. Hey, by the way, if anybody's watching and they want to suggest 4 things that they think go together, just beware. There's misdirection in play and wordplay in play. Misdirection means there's often a fourth category. Things that kind of look to me the same, like a marshmallow, a hacky sack, a desiccant packet, and an eye pillow. Oh, thank you for your chant. For some reason, that sticks out to me, although I'm not really sure why. Let's see. Control panel, Etch-a-Sketch, radio, and stove are things that have knobs. Let's do that one first. Things that have knobs. How did I know? It's part of being a good player of this game. We still have Beanie Baby, Labubu, Teddy Bear, and I don't know. I think it's a Softie. I think that's another thing there. What else could it be? Like a chowder, clam chowder, things that are white. Oh no, a teddy bear. All right. The hacky sack, the marshmallow, the eye pillow, and the desiccant packet. Those are the ones that kind of screamed out to me. Let's try it. Let's try it. Because they're soft things of a specific shape. Soft? No. Oof. All right, now I want to try Teddy Bear, Beanie Baby, the Boo Boo. What is a Softie? What is a Doodlebug? I'm actually going to do a little cheating here. What is a Doodlebug? Do you know what that is? It's the larvae of an antlion. Okay, but what is a Softie? According to you, it doesn't mean anything in particular. So I don't know what else would go with Beanie Bear, Teddy Bear, and Labubu. This is kind of a hard one because I've already... Okay, chowder is white. A marshmallow is white. I think things that are filled with something. So a Beanie Baby would be filled with pellets. Okay. I think I finally got in a little bit there. Whew. All right. So, but it's still... Now, we only have to get one more, and the last one will fall out. But what do we still have? Teddy Bear, Marshmallow, Doodlebug, Sweetheart, Labubu, Softie, Chowder Bear. So Teddy Bear, it was not related to the Beanie Baby. So... Teddy Bear. What would be Pitter Patter? What would Pitter Patter be associated with? Sweetheart? Oh, it seems like candy to me, possibly. What would Pitter Patter be associated with? That's always interesting. Okay, so a Softie, a teddy bear, a marshmallow, and a sweetheart apply to people who are sentimental, tender-hearted. Okay. And then Pitter Patter, Chowder, Doodlebug, and Labubu. What is the connection there? We figured it out. We only got one wrong. That's not too horrible. So Pitter Patter. No idea. Chowder. Doodlebug, and Labubu. Wow, I have no idea what that connection is. And as always, when we do this, as soon as we hit that thing, which will tell us, we'll be like, oh yeah, obviously. But let's find out what it is. It'll tell us. Starting with familiar names for kinds of dogs. So a chow, a doodle, which is okay. A chow would be a chow. A doodle is a labradoodle, right? Doodle bug. A labubu is a lab, like a chocolate lab, like a Labrador. This is really hard. And a pitter patter is a pit bull. I would never have gotten those in a billion years. Well, the purple one is supposed to be hard, but man, that one would have stumped me. I mean, I still don't barely understand the connection there. All right, one more game, and then we're gonna go. I'm gonna be setting my piano, blah blah blah, and then Darth Sidious, Emperor Palpatine is gonna perform for you like the train monkey is. Okay. All right, we're gonna do the hardest of these octurtles first. This one here, at least, is easy because it's AILY, upper left. So it's daily. That gives us the I, the D, which we needed. Oh, it wasn't daily. All right. I see. I'm not always right. This one here, though, ATH. Oh, it could be watch. Let's see what or match. Okay, still got a lot of this. We're in trouble already. This one here, I think, is going to be canal, lower right. Right? Come on, it's got to be canal. At least let's get one here. See, we got one. And now we got, let's see. This, we don't have an O or U. So this could be, I'm just going to make an executive decision because this show is running long. Crown. I bet it's crown. See? And the W is needed. Oh, yeah. Now we know this word is catch. All right. So let's just grab that. This could go pretty quickly from here. This word here on the lower, right next to it, has to be above. There's no other choices, given the information that we have. This word here, we already crawl. Okay, so some of these are just falling out here. This word here, okay. It's okay. It's gonna be HORN. And the only word that we have is shorn. And so that gives us, well, eliminates the S. That's fine. We have two guesses yet to get these top two words here. How are we doing? Okay, yeah, this upper word could have been gaily, GAILY, right? I think that's the only thing. And the word on the right is going to be, okay, well, there's an L. Okay, it's EL something N. So it's ELON. That's fine. We know it's ELON. Could be melon, but it could also be felon. Oh my God. Oh, because we haven't used the M or the F. Well, let's just get gaily, right? I mean, I can't think what else that could be. Right? Okay. Now I have to come up with a 50-50 because it literally could be felon, FELON, or melon, MELON. Let's try melon, but it's a guess. It was so close. The correct one was felon. But you know, as I say before many times at this point, if I won every single one of these, it wouldn't be fun. I only get about 60% of them, maybe a little over half is what I'm saying. And today was not a win. That's a loss. So close, though. Came down to a 50-50. I could have guessed felon, and I would have been right. But neither the M or the F were ever used in any previous words. Alrighty then. Let's see what's going on here. I'm going to have to spend a good solid 3, 4, 5 minutes transforming into Ken's piano, or sorry, Emperor Palpatine's piano lounge. I know it says Darth Sidious piano lounge on there, but it's the same person. Shh, spoiler alerts. So yeah, Emperor Palpatine's piano lounge. All right, so I'm going to go into the music category. Let's do that first. Music category, please. Thank you. Music category. And then it's going to take me a little while to, I'm going to read my mid-roll.
Okay, gotta get my shit together here though. Let's see, that did not register. Oh, wrong screen. A little bit better there. All right, let me get my shit together. I think headphones on the outside, headphones on the inside. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Check one, check one, check one. Can you hear me? Oh, that's not in the right position. Nothing's in the right position. Also. Still working on it. Let's see. Microphone should go down here. Check, check, check. Oh, there you go. Now you can hear me. Just got a little closer. And this thing here. Put this in the position where I like to put so you can kind of see the whole piano. Welcome to Ken's Piano Lounge. Or sorry, Jesus, I keep getting this wrong. The Emperor's Piano Lounge. Let's see if anything's working here. Adjustment to the camera. Just a little closer to my line here. There we go. Oh yeah, well, first song really that was kind of warm. So I'm not really moving through the Diet Coke today. Yummy. A tasty beverage that's preferred throughout the entire galaxy. Sorry. Ooh. course, that was Breaking Us in Two by Joe Jackson. Hi, hope you could see you on your way home again. It's a Willie Nelson song. I don't even know what one. Yeah, I saw your. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, I saw. I give it the thumbs up. That looks like a very. I mean, it's really fun to do a, photographic thing and then have it come out like that. It looked really good. Came out really good. It became very realistic, which is, when you look up close, it's little threads. It's not actual photograph. It's really fun. All right, Flashdance. Flashdance there. Oh, time for Girl from Ipanema. Girl from Ipanema. How's that go? Like this? Sorry, I keep bumping my thing. All right, it's good. It won't put that more. One second. It's in the wrong position. That's better. Oh, I don't know. I hope you're enjoying Darth Sidious' Piano Lounge. And if you're not, I'm going to take off your arm, my lightsaber here. All right? I want to hear nothing about it. It extends. Gets even longer. Don't make me cut off various limbs by dissing this lounge music stream. All right, what's next? Peg? It's Josie. Sorry. Practicing these. Okay. All right, make sure my thing is so set in here. Right. Getting close to the time, but do a couple more songs here. I mean, of course, Emperor Palpatine. That represents my time. I got to get back to work. Back to work, but I am back to work by work. I mean, running the frickin' empire. Okay, that's actually a job. You know what I mean? It's an entire empire. There's lots of decisions. People are coming to me. Most of the decisions I make are either yes, off with their head, or also off with their head and also their arms. But it's still somebody's got to make that decision. And I have those guys in the red, those red guys. They usually do the chopping. But that's still it's work. I have to sit there in the chair and I have to listen to the the complaint or whatever. And I have to make a decision. Which is okay, cut the baby in half. I'm that kind of emperor. Everyone loves me. Sometimes I make a speech. All right, and the speech goes a lot like this. First of all, I lift up my Diet Coke, which is the official beverage of the Galactic Empire, Republic, I mean. Which, one or the other. I'm so glad we had this time together. Excuse me. Yeah, I can't sing it. Just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just get started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say so long. God, I can't get my earlobe. So long. Bye, everybody. See you next time, which is Wednesday, presumably. Probably. Next, same bad time, same bad channel. But I will not be all pepper. I'll be the regular person.